What is up, friends? Hey, I'm Ryan Coral from Studio Sherpas, and this is the Grow Your Video Business podcast, and this is actually a live recording with a studio audience. On this show, I talk about how to grow your video business without burning out. We're at the beginning of 2022, and if you're already feeling overwhelmed and stressed out because of all the things that you need to do in your video business, well, my goal, my hope, or GOAP, as I like to say, it's like goal and hope together, is to help you kind of unpack some of that stress, help you uncover what it is that you really need to grow your video business, and not just like to hire employees or to make tons of money. Those things can be great and fine, but if you aren't enjoying the process, if you feel like you're losing out on your creativity because of the stress, or you just have some really big dreams for your life and for your business, and you're just not sure what step to take next, that's what this show is all about. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about websites. Why I don't think I need to convince anybody why their website is important, but I do want to talk about 8 things that I think are completely necessary if you're a video production company, studio, freelance filmmaker, videographer, studio, whatever you are. If you're making videos for clients, they're paying you money. That's why I think that's what would define them as a client. Then I want to give you 8 things that your website should have. And this really shouldn't be super overwhelming. I think there's maybe a couple of things in here that might be like, I definitely don't have that, and I don't even know where to start there or start with that. So I'm gonna do my best in 35 minutes or so to equip you and to give you a plan so that after this episode you can start maybe revising some of the things that you're doing. Also, if you're here live, I'm going to do, depending on timing, I'm going to do an audit. If somebody listening is like, oh man, that would be super fun, I would love for you to do an audit of my website. I think that would be fun too. So I am not claiming to be a website expert. I'm not claiming to be a marketing expert. But what I do know are some of the things that have worked for me and for my business. I know I have an opinion and I like to share it. So if it can be helpful for you and for your business, that is amazing. So let's jump in, shall we? But before we jump in, there's one thing I want to tell you. Next week, we're only, it's Thursday, 3 days, maybe 4 days at most. 4 days away from the 5-day Grow Your Video Business Challenge. This is a free challenge. I've run this challenge before, and it is an awesome time, especially at the beginning of the year as you're setting goals for your business. You're trying to figure out, how do I scale? How do I grow? What are the things that I need to do? What are the things I need to focus on? How can I make more money? How can I take more money home? Not just make more money, but be more profitable. How can I leave my corporate 9-to-5 job and do this video thing full time? I've been dabbling with it for a while, and it's time to go. Maybe you have employees. Maybe you're doing great. Maybe you've done this challenge before. This is just a friendly reminder. You need to spend time working on your business, and what better time than at the beginning of the year when you can kind of hit the reset button and refresh, recharge, re-energize. I did not mean to do all those re's. But this is a great time to just take some time out to unplug from all the distractions, all the notifications, all of the working in your business, and start thinking about, okay, what do I want this year? What are my hopes for my business? If that sounds like you, I want you to stop what you're doing right now, type into your web browser, studiosherpas.com/challenge, and go sign up for the 5-day Grow Your Video Business Challenge. And I'm going to be showing up Monday through Friday, starting next week, January 17th, and sharing a different topic each day. And I think it's going to be incredibly awesome for you. I think it's going to be great for me because it's it's a forced refresher as I'm building out my outlines, creating slides, and just checking myself. Are we doing these things? Are these the best things that I need to be sharing? Because I taste my own medicine, eat my own food. What is that? Scoop my own poop. What's the thing? Like, I'm not just telling you things that you should do. Really, this is an opportunity for me to check the things that we're doing in our production company. So check it out. It's free. The 5-day Grow Your Video Business Challenge. StudioSherpas.com/challenge. Why your website is important. Okay, duh. People need a place to go, right? When you meet people, when you're promoting yourself, if you're just starting, I think using something like Facebook or Vimeo or, someplace that houses your videos, I think that's fine. That is okay. But when you're really ready to say okay, this is a legit business, people need to be able to find me, then you need a website. Okay. And social media, I think it's great. If you can build up your TikTok subscribers, or we call them scribers in this house, because when our youngest was little, that's what she would say. Scribe below. Anyway, she didn't actually have a YouTube channel, but she has older siblings that watch YouTube videos, and that's what they all say. So social, Instagram, I think that stuff is cool. But I don't want you to rely on that. I don't want you to use that as that's the place where people hire me. Unless if that is the place where people are hiring you and you got a good flow of work, cool, great. The problem is you don't own Instagram, you don't own TikTok, you don't create the rules, and when Facebook and Instagram got totally hijacked not too long ago, and you couldn't do any they didn't work. If you don't have your own website, then you don't get to control the narrative, right? And that's why I'm also a huge advocate for building an email list. So you can have huge subscribers on YouTube, this huge channels, but if for some crazy reason all of that breaks, or they just change the rules and say hey, you can't use this platform for business anymore. I mean, how terrible would that be? Now, the chances of that happening are not very good. But wouldn't you just want to own your stuff, your website? And for people that want to subscribe, want to follow you, want your updates, for them to give you their email address in exchange for that. So then you have their email. When you have their email address, not Facebook or YouTube or whatever, when you have that, then that is a treasure. Right? That's something that you treasure. That's something that when somebody gives that to you, you take care of them. You take care of that email address. You take care of people that want to stay in contact with you and know what you've got going on. So that email list becomes a money printing machine. Right? If you have a promotion, or you have a new product or service that you want to introduce, you can email your list, and they don't have to be on social at the right time, or the algorithm be working in your favor for them to see that, oh, you've got a promotion. Everybody gets an email, and they'll get your email. It says, hey, we've got this promotion. And if they want to do it, they'll click the buy now button, and you just made a sale with this email list. So I know we're talking about websites. Now I'm talking about emails, but those two things kind of go hand in hand. And as we get into my list of 8 things, I'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'll stop talking about it right now and get to it again here in a second. Okay. Walk the walk. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. The improper setup of a website. You will be attracting the improper kinds of clients, the wrong kind of clients. So if you've ever complained or whined or just been frustrated that these clients they're just not good. They don't get video. They don't understand my value. Everybody's pushing back on my pricing. If you've ever been in that situation, there is somewhere along the way, there's miscommunication to that person in understanding your value and what you do. And your website is a place where you can educate and you can position yourself however you want to. And if you don't do it the right way, then people will perceive you in a way that you don't want to be perceived. And that will suck a lot of time that you don't have trying to explain, oh, well, no, that's not it. Oh, no, our pricing starts, oh, no, we don't do, you can avoid all of that. Maybe not all of it. You can avoid, let's just say, if you could avoid 10% of that, you'd be saving a lot of time. But I bet you could avoid 50 to 70% of those wasted conversations if your website is set up properly. Can I get an amen? Okay, so that's why we're here today. The first thing I want to talk about is on your website, I will preface this. One of the best books, and somebody wrote this when I posted this on Facebook, somebody said their suggestion for somebody brand new that was going to start build out their website. And I would say, if you're brand new or you're 17 years in or you're 30 years in, read the book by Donald Miller called Building a Story Brand. It's a fast read. The guy's a genius. Super cool. Has an amazing podcast, Marketing Made Simple, Story Brand. I don't know. He's got all sorts of amazing stuff. Read that book and then build your website because he lays it out better than what I'm going to do here. This is the abbreviated version, and it's not all the stuff that he has, but it is some of the stuff that he has because we've tried to emulate kind of what he's taught. Your website should position your ideal client as the hero. What do I mean by that? Ryan, what do you mean by that? So if you, on your website, are promoting all about you and how you're going to save the day and how you are, the best video company since sliced bread, or the best video company since DVDs. You're going to show off your gear. You're going to brag about just how great you are. That's not helpful for a business that has needs. If you can let your website lead with the problem that your ideal client has, and then kind of talk about how you solve it with video, that will get your ideal client to lean in. But if you make it hard for them to kind of search on, they scroll through your whole site trying to figure out like, can they help me? That's the question that they have. Like when they're searching for a video company, when somebody is tasked on a team, like, hey, we need a video. Can you just, do some Googling or asking around? They're going to a bunch of different websites. They're scrolling, as quick as they can. They're probably looking at a video. Their first impression is like, well, what's above the fold? What do they see immediately? Is this interesting? If not, like if their font's bad, if your logo's bad, if it just looks bad, people might click off. If you're the last resort, maybe they won't. But if it's not clear what you do, how you can help them, then they're going to move on. Everybody has this feeling of what's in it for me. So when I come to your website, I'm asking that question. Is this a self-serving website? Like, is this for them to like show off and try to convince me through all of their sweet marketing lingo, sales tactics, or whatever? Or is it very clear, like, oh gosh, like this is the problem I have. It's clear that they can solve it, or it seems like they can. Let me reach out to them. So lead with the problem that your ideal client has. And I say ideal client, that means you kind of have to have like, who is your ideal client? If you have a website that is generic, then it's going to be really hard to pinpoint what's the problem that everybody has. What's the general problem that everybody has? Well, the general problem that everybody has that's coming looking for video is that they don't want to do video on their own. But that's like that's pretty generic. Let's say your ideal client is a dentist, and you serve dentist, like for whatever reason, like maybe your uncle, you shot a video for your uncle who's a dentist, and he was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing. And he's a part of a dental association, and he's like sharing with all of his friends. And somehow, some way, you ended up becoming the videographer to dentists. And so you just have a lot of that kind of work, and you've had so many conversations with dentists, and you know the problems that the three main problems that they always are telling you. It's like, oh my gosh, like, we need new patients. Like we're just like, we could always use more patients. We also need better staff. Like, we're always searching for, and, the last one is we just need better candy at the front desk for kids. Is that a thing? They give candy, right? At dentist office? I think they do at my kids. They used to have like a treasure box. Anybody else have a treasure box at their dentist? That was seriously it was like magic. I just need to buy a treasure box. That would be cool. A treasure box, maybe a treasure chest. That's what I'll get. Anyway, so you just become familiar with what the three main problems that dentists have. So on your website, well, what's the one problem that all dentists have? Video to help dentists get more clients, or need more clients for your dental practice. We can help. Some like you're okay. Now that's very niche. That's very specific. And I know a lot of you are like, Ryan, we can't, like, that's way too, I don't want to just work for dentists. Okay. We're not going to have this conversation right now. But I will say, if you want to really grow and get to a spot in your business where the work is coming in, the work is flowing like the beer flows like wine. Anybody know that reference? If you want that, then you have to niche down. And you don't have to niche to dentists. You can. There are niches out there. Most niches. Well, I shouldn't say most, but yeah, most niches have budgets. So you just have to pick the right kind of niche. So again, okay, going down a rabbit hole. We're not going to go there, but pick your ideal client, build your website around your ideal client, okay? And so we're going to lead. The first one is address the problem that your ideal client has. The next thing, the number two, this isn't necessarily in order of importance, but I think I did a pretty good job of making it of importance in the order of. Number two is to create a clear call to action. And if you can have that call to action above the fold, if you know what the fold is, it's like when you go to a page and then you have to scroll to see what's next. Whatever you're scrolling to see what's next, that's under the fold. It's like back in the day, like the newspaper, newspapers are folded and you see the top and then you see the bottom. Like what's most important is what's on top there. And then all the secondary stuff is below that. So having a clear call to action above the fold is very important. And according to Donald Miller, he would suggest having this same call to action 7 times throughout your entire website, because we humans are slow. We're slow to get the point. And if there's one thing that you want people to do on your website, you need to know what that one thing is. And then you need to let whoever's on your website know what that thing is. So this could be book a discovery call, get a quote, call me, email me, something else. There are a lot of different calls to action, but pick one, the most important one. Think through, if somebody only did one thing on my website, this is the thing that I would want them to do. Okay, so have a clear call to action, and PS there, put it multiple. Sometimes you can put it in the tippy top header. So next to your home, about, contact, and then your block call to action, like this thing that really stands out. And then maybe you've got your leading text that says, it's your problem that you're addressing for your ideal client. And then, right below that, or right below some subtext, or, a photo or a picture, video or something like that, is your call to action button again. And then maybe 6 more times or 5 more times. Okay. Number 3, secondary call to action. So maybe people, hop to your site and your main call to action is book a discovery call, but they're not convinced that they want to call you. They're still doing their research, and they don't want to hop on they don't want to book a call until they're, kind of like 30% of the way there, feeling like maybe they'd be a fit. So a secondary call to action would be something like download our free guide, download our mini course on 3 things dentists should do when planning for their video. Something like that. So a lead magnet is something that you trade for an email address. So you offer a PDF, you offer a mini course, you offer a webinar, a workshop, anything like that. You say, hey, I'm doing this thing, or I've got this resource. I'd love for you to have it. Give me your email address, and then I'll give you the thing. So it's got to be valuable enough for them to say like, oh, I'll give you my email address. You can spam me. Please don't spam me. Please don't spam anybody. I try not to do that. So if you ever feel like you're getting spam from me, just unsubscribe and tell me I'm spammy, and that'll hurt my feelings, because I'm like, man, I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to add value. But I digress. You get the point here. Create a lead magnet, and this would be your secondary call to action. Let it be something of value that speaks directly to your ideal audience. Moving on to number 4. Only show the work that you want to be hired for on your website. Let me say that one more time. Only show the kind of work that you want to be hired for on your website. So if this is your demo reel, your show reel, whatever you call it, if this is like the video that you're leading with on your website, which you should have your videos on your website, you could just have one video on your website. Don't feel like you need to be like, oh, I gotta have a whole bunch. I don't think so. I think in your show reel that could be enough, depending on who your client is, what they need to see, what they need to feel before they have that discovery call or before they have that meeting with you. But in your show reel or demo, don't put clips in there of things that you don't want to shoot or do. Okay, it might be really cool. It might have been super technical for you to get that. It might have been the biggest project that you were ever part of, and so you're just like, man, I got to brag. I got to put this in there. If you don't want to do that kind of work, don't put it on your website, because people will see it and say, oh, that's what I want. That. Yes. Hey, can you do that thing? I saw that, on your, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, no, why did? So just don't do it. If you have videos on your website right now that you don't want to be hired for, take them down. The idea here is that you just want to strip away all of the distractions that are going to get people to hire you that you don't want to hire you. You don't want, if people are going to give you money, that's one thing, but if somebody contacts you and you're from the get-go, you're just like, oh, this is not ideal. They don't, like, I'm going to have to convince them it's a style or a niche that I'm not interested in. You're going to waste a lot of time and energy. You're going to just be sucked dry of all of the things that make you come alive, and you're just like, I got to have this conversation again. I want to help you avoid those conversations that you don't want to have. And and those conversations can lead to an in-person meeting, and that in-person meeting can lead to a full blown out proposal or pitch us, give us your best. And it's like, you can spend literally hours on something that you just don't care about, that you don't want to do, that you're not going to make the kind of money on that you want to. But the fear sets in, and you're like, well, man, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to be able to make any money this month. I would challenge that. I'm not going to tell you to not make money, but I would just challenge that and say, if you instead could think through how much time you might waste on a client that's not ideal, 2 hours, 4 hours, just take a rough guess. And if you could apply that, if you could say, well, I would say it's probably about 3 hours I waste talking to somebody that I don't want to work with, whether they hire me or not. It's about 3 hours of wasted time. If they hire you, it's going to be a lot more wasted. But let's just say it's 3 hours. What could you do in 3 hours? Could you go to your downtown area, buy 6 dozen things of donuts, write 6 cards, and walk to 6 different businesses, knock on the door and just say, hey, I am a local video guy, just trying to be an awesome neighbor. So I love donuts. I would like for you to have these. See, oh, here's my card. No, there's no weird sales pitch or anything included here. Or is there? Just kidding. So 3 hours, 6 dozen donuts, 6 businesses. And you offered, hey, if anybody's interested, I would be happy to do a lunch and learn for your team and talk about video trends in 2022. Here's my card. Call me. But again, no sales pitch, nothing to buy here. Enjoy, friendly neighbor, just doing something friendly. Peace out. Or make chocolate chip cookies. I've done that before. I make killer chocolate chip cookies. Although I haven't made the chocolate chunk ones in a long time. With some sea salt on the top, you guys, I'm not joking. These are like, so I've made cookies for clients, potential clients of ours, and people love chocolate chip cookies. So if you want to win people over, it's all about the chocolate chip cookies or donuts. If you want to win me over, chocolate chip cookies, sea salt, Reese's peanut butter cups. Okay, I'll stop. So point being, if you could invest wasted time elsewhere in trying to win people over, trying to add value, it doesn't need to be, you don't need to be dropping stuff off, but making phone calls, creating a workshop that could be helpful, writing a blog post that could add value to dentists, and just like emailing it out to 20 dentists that you find on LinkedIn, like 3 hours. You can do a lot in 3 hours if you're focused, if you're clear on how you can serve your ideal audience. You can do a lot in 3 hours. So you could say no to that person that's like, oh, I got $1,000, or I got a $2,500 or even a $5,000 project. If you spent 3 hours trying to get, like, just hoping that one client that will call you eventually. They're probably not going to, you're not going to deliver cookies and they're going to call you the next day for video, but weirder things have happened. Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm spending too much time talking about cookies and donuts. Now I'm hungry and I want them. So that one, number 4, only put work on your website that you want to be hired for. Number 5, social proof. Okay, this one, I think is a good one. This is where you can use some badges, logos of clients that you've worked with to just say, like, hey, we're not like, we've worked with some people. Sharing that. Hey, here's what people have said about working with us. Ryan's team is great. They helped us land new clients with the videos that they gave us. I will say one little tidbit here. This one is free here for you. If you're going to ask happy clients for testimonials, I want you to have them focus on transformation. What was the transformation? Don't talk about Ryan being great. You can, but that's not going to help me get my new client, new job. What is going to, if they can see themselves in you. So if you say, man, we hired Ryan, his team did a video for us. We needed to get 100 new discovery calls set next month. And that video drove so much traffic. It helped us land 200 calls next month. So we are able to get, 10 new clients because of the videos that Ryan did. Like, what was the result? What was life like before you had this video, and what is life like now that you have this video? It's you working for you. So you can ask that question to your happy clients, like, hey, what was life like before you had this video, and what is life like now? If that's the only feedback and input you got from your clients, that would be incredibly helpful as you post that on your website, as you share that with people that are considering hiring you. Hey, these are some of the transformations spoken. I don't want to convince you of anything, but if the problem that this person had is similar to, or you can see yourself in their same situation, then take their word for it, not mine. Let the results that you help people get, let that be the thing that convinces them if they should hire you. So social proof, super duper important. We are on number 6, process. So this is where you would talk about your process in 3 to 5 very simple ways. How do you work with people. For us on our website, I think it's call, create, celebrate, something like that. So the discovery call, and so we've got this like cute little process. We got 3 icons and just like a mini description of like each of those elements. Think about like, what's your process? And we all do pre-production, production, post-production, like the, delivery, whatever. Like it's all the same, but make up your own process, make up your own wording. Let people get into and understand like, oh, this is how, okay, cool. And if you have different words for it, maybe you do have a different process. For us, we do a workshop with our clients. And that's one of the very first things that we tell them. Like, oh, you do a workshop before you like go into production. Oh, that's unique. Tell me more. Like, what is this workshop? Oh, well, this is where, you're not even committing to a production project at this point. The workshop's $2,500. We're going to sit down with you and your team. We're going to go over our video making process. We're going to start with the end in mind, find out what are your goals for this project. We're going to get your team in alignment. And what we found after we do this workshop, we create a blueprint for you. You look at the blueprint, you make any changes, edits there, but that's typically the format or the creative for the video, so that when we go to produce your video, there are no surprises when you're seeing the first draft of the video. I've been doing this for 17 years, and I've surprised a lot of clients before we started doing this workshop. I thought I knew what they wanted. They thought what they knew. We're talking. We thought we're on the same page. We go to shoot. They don't go to the shoot for some reason, so we just shoot, and we think we get what we need, and we show them draft 1, and they're like, what? And we're like, oh, no. This is the feeling that we all get when we send the first draft, and then we don't hear from a client. All of the bad things are going through our minds of like, they hate me. They want to kill me. They probably have somebody sniping me or I'm in somebody's scope right now. I'm the worst. I failed this project. All because they went on vacation that week and they didn't have time to email you. They didn't get your email. Not always the case, but sometimes the case. Yes, I've felt those feelings before. So communicating that to our clients and saying like, we're not going to have you spend $15,000 or $20,000 or more on a video until we're clear, until we're all clear on what's actually needed. And we've had people change their budget for their project, meaning like double or triple their budget, because as they've gotten a better understanding of how story can help them, or the way that we go about it, how we can maximize, the interviews and everything that we're going to shoot and give them way more if we do it like this way or that way. Doing a workshop for us has been incredibly helpful and awesome for our clients. So talking about that as part of our process, really, really helpful. And it legitimizes you and your business. Especially if you feel like, man, I just don't feel like I'm not like CEO quality. I don't talk the right way. I don't dress up like a CEO. Like I just don't, that's not my jam. Perfect. But something that will help you come across to a business owner, a marketing executive, somebody in charge of hiring a video team. If they feel like you've got your stuff together, they're going to be more likely to help you. And what they like to see is that you have a process. What's your process? Oh, it's a 3-step process. We've got pre-production, and what we're going to do with pre-production, we're going to get on a call with your team. We're going to do and then we've got production. This is where we're going to jump in and and then in post, we're going to do and you get up to 2 rounds or even, and we're just these are the things that we're going to do. And this is how we deliver projects on time and on budget and make our clients say things like, you changed my life with your video or whatever. So when you can create a process that you can communicate easily, clearly, it doesn't need to sound corporate. It doesn't need to be fake or made up. Just like, what do you do? How do you do it? Maybe make it a little fun. Make it line up with your brand. Make it line up with your personality. And that will be really, really helpful. And it won't make you come across too corporate if that's what you're afraid of. Number 7. Contact. People still like to make phone calls. They prefer text messages. But having your phone number on the top of your page or on the bottom of your page having a button that says contact where they can know where is your office at, or your home office, or your PO box, or what is your phone number. Making it quick and easy for people to contact you, especially when they're frustrated and annoyed because it might not be easy for them to figure out how to contact you. The easier you can make it for people that do, I just need to get on the phone with them, you will be doing yourself a favor. So don't forego and just think like, you can have it. Just send them, text us at blah, blah, blah. Some people will appreciate that especially if you're on top of it and you can respond quickly. But having a phone number, very important. And I know times are changing. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But number 8, this is my personal favorite, if I haven't already said that with any of the other 7. This one is my personal favorite. This one is all about brand authenticity. This is about being a person, not a company or a brand or whatever. This is like, you need a photo of you or your team or your team. You need to show up on your website. You need to humanize your brand. Because when people are considering other companies, like who do we want to work with? People want to work with people that they can relate to and with. And if all they see is this cool logo and this flashy marketing stuff and it doesn't feel like it's connected to a person on the other end, but then they're talking to somebody that does, they're going to have a much better connection with the person. So if you can post a picture of your family, of you and your dog, of your team at work, if you can make your website a little bit personal, it will go a long, long way. I like to go as far as, if you go to our website, there's a video and I star in the video. Showing up, being personable is one of the most valuable things that you can do. It will differentiate yourself. For me, as I've shown up on our website, we've got a couple of videos. One that I'm clearly in where I introduce what we do, why I love what we do. It's a really short video, shows some cool fancy clips of some of our work, shows some of our team. But you know what it has helped us, how it's helped us? I'm also the main salesperson. So I'm not the gatekeeper, but serious jobs come before me, and I'm typically on the phone with these people when it turns out that they might be a good fit for us. I don't want anybody to hire us that thinks I'm super annoying. I don't want anybody to hire us that takes life too seriously. I don't want somebody to hire us that doesn't appreciate sarcasm. I want people to hire. You don't have to be just like me to hire us, but you need to be a little bit relaxed. Okay. Everybody just calm down. There's much more important things going on in the world than, each of us trying to grow our businesses. But if we can't enjoy each other, if we can't enjoy the work, then don't hire us. And so the sooner somebody can get that vibe, that's kind of goofy vibe, the sarcastic, irreverent, but deeply caring vibe from me, and if it's a fit, if people like that, align with that, they're going to take the next step. If they don't, they're going to avoid us. And that is great. One of my favorite sayings is get a no as soon as possible. So people can watch the video on the front and center of our website, see this guy named Ryan says, hey, we're Tell Studios and I'm a jokester. And they're like, nope, not for us. Cool. Great. I'm not for you either. I'm glad you figured that out. You didn't have to call me. I didn't have to waste my time talking to you. I'll talk to you about anything, but if you don't want to hire us for video stuff, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about life and family and, just all the other fun stuff. So personalize your website, personalize your brand. You can have a name like Tell Studios, but who's behind Tell Studios? invite people into your world, and don't be afraid. Like, well, it's just me. I'm just a solopreneur. I don't want to put my photo on there because I want people to think that we're bigger than that. I will say that in today's day and age, things have changed. Maybe they weren't like that 20 years ago, maybe 15, maybe even 10 years ago. They weren't like that, but they are like that today. So being upfront and honest, like, hey, I'm a solopreneur. I'm what do you call that? Like a single agency. There's a name for that. I forget. It's fancy word. I lead our project. I'm the creative director or on all of our, and then I just scale our team as needed. So this isn't me. I'm saying this could be you. If you're a solopreneur, I think preneur is just the worst. It's hard to spell. It just sounds dumb coming out of my mouth. Preneur. You can contract. You've got a deep network of video people, shooters, editors, directors, producers, camera ops, sound engineers, script writers. Like, depending on what you need, client, I will build the right team to give you exactly what you need to help solve your problem. So yeah, it is just me, like, on the front and center here, but one of my skills, one of the things that I bring to the table is I'm able to build awesome teams that aren't too big or too small for what your problem is. That's going to save you money. It's going to save us time. That's a smart way to run a business. So be open and honest about that, and don't be afraid. Don't feel like you need to make up excuses. Do not make excuses. Appreciate where you're at today. Have goals of where you want to be, if it's somewhere else at some point, but embrace where you're at, because if you can't, you're literally never going to be at a spot where you're happy. You're always going to want a better reel. You're always going to want better equipment. You're always going to want better people on your team that can do better work. You're always going to want to, keep improving. And if you can't just say like, wow, I can't believe I get to do this work and people pay me. And like, this is my living. Like, this is pretty cool. So don't lose track of that. Okay. And at the end of the day, as my friend Graham Cochran says, when you're building your website, let's say you do all 8 of these things, or you're just like, holy cow, this is a list of 8 things. I don't have time to do any of that. Like a lead magnet. I don't just like, this is so stressful. Go ugly early. Launch the thing, launch your site, put it out there, make edits to it later. Don't wait to launch your website until you got that goofy video of yourself that you want to put on there. Launch your website, start sharing it, and add to it as you need to. Make sure that you're carving out time to work on it, make adjustments, but go ugly early. Don't wait for it to be perfect, because your 6 out of 10 is somebody else's 8 out. If you feel like you can serve somebody with the kind of video that you can do, the longer you hold back from letting people know that you're available for hire, the bigger disservice you are doing to the world. So please don't do that. Learn from my own mistakes of not launching so many things because of fear of other people who I deeply respect, and I just didn't want to be seen as a turd. I didn't want to be embarrassed. I didn't want them to be like, oh, seriously? You're trying to compete with us? Like whatever. There's enough work to go around. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole either. I get real passionate real quick. Just go ugly early, friend. You don't learn until you launch. Launch your website. If you have none of the 8 things that I just said, put it out there. Put a time in your calendar next week to spend an hour changing one thing or thinking about changing one thing. But get it out there. Just do the thing and move on to the next thing. So that is that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. Hit the subscribe, join me, leave me a comment. Let me know what is, out of the 8 that I shared, is there one that stands out to you? It's like, oh my gosh, that is a no-brainer. I need to do that. One that you've been putting off, and why have you been putting it off? Share in the comments. I would love to see that. Thanks again for being here. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you at the challenge or on the next episode.